All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm the director of ForWord. We are a Border Senses literary project, and we mainly focus on writing workshops with the youth of El Paso and the borderlands. So what I'll be going over is our mission, the facilitators, which is kind of an ongoing and rotating group, our workshops, collaborators and venues, and our chapbook, which I'll be sharing one of those with you later on. And as I'm going, if you guys have any questions, feel free to speak up or write something in the chat. And I'll also be going over kind of what our season is like, and how we'll be changing in the future. All right, so our mission, as I mentioned, we're a nonprofit organization, which is part of Border Senses, which also is involved with the Barbed Wire Open Mic Series and the Memorias del Silencio, which is run by with EPCC, which is part of they give help with GED, but they're mainly focused on creative writing workshops for the migrant farm workers who are receiving their GED through EPCC. So we like to expand our mission of providing a voice to the poets and writers of the El Paso border region. We offer our artistic and academic opportunities to the diverse groups of El Paso by engaging their creativity while learning the value of the arts in higher education. All right, so these are some of our facilitators. So myself here and Richie Marufo and Alessandra Narvaez Varela. So this has been within the last year. So I'm personally a lecturer in the Rhetoric and Writing Studies program at UTEP. So Richie Marufo is an adjunct, or I'm not sure if he's full-time at EPCC in the Rio Grande. Alessandra Narvaez is a lecturer at UTEP in the creative writing program. We've also had a number of different poets and writers who've helped out with our workshops as well. Actually, over this past summer, unfortunately, all the things that kind of intervened between last spring and now, we were planning on doing a week-long workshop with the current poet laureate of Texas, Emi Perez. So she's a UTEP alumni, and unfortunately that fell through. But we're always looking for opportunities. So let's look at, I believe, some of our collaborators that we worked with, some of the venues that we worked with. So some of those that aren't shown this past year, we got a few grants where we worked in with the YWCA in an after-school program. We also worked in with the Boys and Girls Clubs in the Lower Valley as well, which was an ongoing 3-month workshop where the students would meet every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 weeks, and we're working toward kind of a program where the students would work on their writing, coming up with poetry and creative nonfiction and fiction, and then we would celebrate their work through a chapbook, which we would print and then have a release party where everybody receives a copy. That's kind of how we've been working with our program. So over the past few years, we've been working more where we would do a workshop in the fall and in the spring. And our students have been high school and university students and community college students as well. So we've done a lot of our workshops in the Glassbox Studios. So they're a collaborator that we worked with a lot. We've also done workshops at the El Paso History Museum, in El Paso Libraries, the International Museum of Art. We also helped out with UTEP's Upward Bound, where we've done numerous, and a lot of the faculty at El Paso Community College were also participated in that workshop. But in addition, we've also, in sort of what we at the ForWord began more as a workshop that would be done in schools, and so in high schools. So you see Del Valle, Bowie, and we've done additional schools as well. But just to give you some idea of some of the schools that we've been, or some of the workshops that we've taken part in. So these are a few of our chapbooks, and so this is open. So Janice, I guess you can go ahead and share this with everybody. So I included here the volume 4. Okay. So and the contributors here, you can see them on this would be the back. So we have the cover and the back cover. So I believe all of them participated in the workshops that we had put on, but we do leave it open. So I guess we promote it through UTEP, through EPCC, also through high schools as well. And so it's open for students in high school to sort of see. And I mean, we can make this available if anyone would be interested to check it out. So I think this year, so and one of the things that we make sure to do is to have it available both in English and Spanish. So we get quite a few Spanish entries as well. And we go through and kind of work with the students and do an editing process where they get their work ready for publication. And so this would be about I think 5x7 size book, and we would print these out, and then we would have a release party where we make these available for sale, and also the students would also get 2 free copies of the work themselves. And so it kind of depends on what our budget looks like. So this year we were able to collaborate with I forget the name of the organization off the top of my head. So we're able to use the cover art and the inserts there. But so just wanted to give everybody an idea of what that looked like. But I'd be also happy to share this with anyone who's interested in taking a look at it. So I could send a PDF out. All right. So thank you, Janice. I guess that's all I wanted to share from that. Yeah, Eduardo, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. John, how are you? How can we get involved at Jefferson High School? I know, I don't know if you can see the 2 copies here. I've got the 1st and 2nd edition. We were fortunate enough to have some of our students be selected for the first 2, but I'd like to jump back in and try to get the kids involved. What will we have to do?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so I'd be happy to work something out. We can collaborate and figure out, what kind of program. So we're kind of feeling that out right now. But we could work on like a grant, and we could, come out with, Richie's been doing a lot of the workshops recently.
Yeah, Richie's been to my class probably the last 4 or 5 years. So very lucky to have him come by. But yeah, let me know if I need to just send my information to you, or if you can send yours to me. But we would definitely like to get the kids back involved in this.
Yeah, that'd be great. So what kind of workshops are you? So I'll send my email here.
Right. Well, Yasmin used to come by. In fact, I think through her, we were able to get some of my students to participate in the first 2 chapbooks. And then Richie's been by to conduct writing workshops, poetry workshops. So just anything where we can get these kids to write and share their voice.
Yeah, I think it's more about that, and that's kind of the trouble that we've had is kind of lost communication with some people. We've done workshops in a number of different places, and then it's mostly with collaboration with the faculty there. So like yourself, and so that would be great to get that started up again.
All right.
And I think, if we could make it, we could collaborate on, possibly coming up with a grant, and you'd have, like we could do like a release party or have some sort of celebration at the end where we could even invite, like I mentioned, we were going to collaborate with Emmy Perez for a workshop over the summer. So we have connections with people who we could bring out and, do something like that.
All right. Great. Well, I got your email right here. So perfect.
Yeah, so just let me know and we can try and figure something out. And so we're also, trying to work things out, is change things up. And so I think focusing more on like kind of a long term, where it'd be like a month long class or an 8-week class, something more along those lines.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so just let me know. And I'll keep in contact. And so here's I think from the volume 2 release party, so that Eddie was talking about there. These are some of the other release parties. So this was in 2019, so the most recent one. And the way that works is the students who had published their work in the chapbook, we would notify them. They would come out and then read so this would be during a barbed wire open mic series. So we'd have Richie would be doing the MC work and introducing everybody. And so they would be able to invite their family and have them come out and celebrate their work, which has always been great for us to do. And so this is just an example of one of the more recent workshops that I had put on, just to give you an idea kind of what we would do in a workshop. And so this would be about an hour-long workshop. And so like I was saying, if we would come up, we're hoping to come up with, and part of what we had done last year with the YWCA and the Boys and Girls Clubs was more of an ongoing. So we would come up with a 3-month program where the students would be taking classes, where there would be kind of like a lecture component like this, but they would also be doing creative writing at the same time. And so this one was focused on character, and as you see there, con artists, imposters, and character. So sort of looking at what is character and thinking about character in terms of like who we are as characters, because obviously human beings are characters. And thinking about identity and kind of where there's a crisis of identity. All right, and so typically we would have like in this type of workshop, if we had a longer workshop, we would assign short stories or poems that might be a bit longer. Okay, and so for this workshop, I signed my name by Sandra Cisneros, and so we went over kind of, it's about a page or so long, so there's plenty of time to have a discussion of the story, and it would be kind of exemplary of what I wanted to discuss in the workshop. Right, so then we kind of went into what is character in fiction, how is it represented, so looking at obviously the appearance, what they have in their pockets, what they own, what they wear, all those sorts of things. Obviously, what they say, what others say about them, what the narrator says about them, their actions, which can be kind of compared with what they say, and with what they say is what they say actually what they do, right? And then so for this assignment, I was thinking of the fraud or the con artist, of the person who kind of says one thing and does something else. And so this is just an example of kind of what we would do in this workshop. So I give them a prompt, and have the students think of a person who is someone they know, could be a character. So this is really just a creative activity. So it's kind of just a brainstorming, and hopefully from this, they could come up with a story. And so we would go over, kind of have them think up a character. What are some of the things that define their identity? And then for this, kind of the focus of this workshop was to make them think about kind of like where if someone's identity flipped, and kind of like that crisis of identity, that would be like the focus of a story, and would be kind of like the climax. So having them think about what would have to happen to that character in terms that would change how they think about their own identity, or their place within society, or in relation to family, or in relation to people at work, or something along those. So something would have to happen. Right? And then for this, I would have them write down as many words as possible based on these Rorschach ink drop paintings. I don't know what you call them exactly, but the Rorschach tests. So they would come up with as many words as possible, and then later on, they would have to include those within a story. So then some of the most important things about story that we talk about is, the obstacles that are put in place. The character needs to want something really badly, and then trying to get the characters into trouble, but sort of based on who the character is. Right? All right, so then the final part of this workshop is they have to go back to the character they had originally thought of, and then have them think about where they're going to have a crisis of identity. All right, so that's all we have for this kind of overview of the ForWord project. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining me. Glad to have you.